Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Now, it has been quite some time since I have found something to make a video on about the gaming industry for game discussion. But recently, after searching for something, I finally found something that I really wanted to address to the audience and talk about in the video. So what I want to talk about today is how I feel aesthetics are impacting gameplay in the gaming industry in general, in quite the negative way. Now, you may ask why I feel that way, but allow me to explain quickly, if you are not familiar with the word, what aesthetics actually is. Aesthetics are things like graphics, character models, weapon models, characters, and story development, etc. Now, in the last few years, we have seen that game aesthetics have increased exponentially. Just going back to last gen, it's not even a contest. In fact, some people I've heard on one of my friends' videos say that they feel like going back last gen hurts their eyes. So it's an insult to them to even consider going back to last gen. But getting back to my topic at hand, why do I feel like aesthetics negatively impact gaming? Well, I feel this way because both people and the game devs have decided to prioritize them over the gameplay. Using a few examples from different games, I'm going to explain this. Starting off with Destiny 2. Destiny 2's graphics are far superior in terms to the first game. It doesn't even compare how much more aesthetically pleasing in graphic form Destiny 2 is to Destiny 1. Yet, on the release day, the gameplay compared to Destiny 1, and some would argue even to now, the gameplay does not stack up to Destiny 1. They prioritized the aesthetics in terms of the graphics and the particle effects. They prioritized that above the gameplay. Now, another example could be Street Fighter V, the character Laura. Laura is a character that people love to look at, especially guys, as she screams, "Direct all your lust here! I am the depiction of a raging sex drive! Yeah, look at me!" But when we do actually take a closer look at her and her background or whatever, we see that there is literally no character to her. She's just an airhead that's thrown out there to appeal to your lust and your sex drive. Now, another game that doesn't get as much, as I feel, appreciation as it could or should, is the game, I believe it's called Girl with the Hat. Yeah, I think so. As some gamers literally feel like what I said previously, the game doesn't look graphically pleasing enough to consider playing. Just take that into account for a moment. You're telling me that because it's not pretty enough, you're not even going to attempt to try the gameplay? Yeah. So despite how the gameplay actually is, whether you appreciate it or not, some people aren't even attempting it simply because the aesthetics aren't what they want it to be. Now, everything that I've stated above is subjective, and I'm sure that everyone has got an opinion on the matter, and hopefully you'll feel free to leave it in the comments. However, what I really want to talk about, when you really get down to it in terms of the aesthetics as far as I'm concerned, for lack of better words, a lot of people have been spoiled. How, you ask? Well, spoiled by the fact that AAA titles with, huge and ridiculous amounts of funding are essentially setting the standard with these graphics, right? They're setting the standards with this insanely high budget so that they can afford to take years and years and years to make a really good looking, air quotes, looking game. As well as fan service, they'll ensure that the game has plenty of fan service at you, But why is that there? Why is that there? It's usually there to do something that I'm going to talk about in a moment. But the issue that I seem to have with this is that people are taking full advantage of the fact that the game looks good, and they use that as rose-tinted goggles. What is rose-tinted goggles? Rose-tinted goggles is when you want to look at the incomplete story. You look at what you like, but you make sure that you can't see what you don't like. Now, obviously, since people are going for the rose-tinted goggles effect when it comes to aesthetics, what's going to happen is the gaming industry, the industry side of it actually, like, the marketing, for example, they're going to take notice of this, and they're going to take their studies. And what they're going to see and gather from more and more people that think like this is the more amazing graphics are, and the better the fan service is, people are going to buy it. So, once again, coming back to why I'm saying all this is important, is they're prioritizing the aesthetics and the fan service to overlap the mediocre gameplay. They're taking more and more time to make their games look good, to make their characters look good, instead of actually ensuring that the entire thing is pleasing to the eye. That character that's incredibly fan service has absolutely no character to them. That game that looks absolutely stunning has garbage and mediocre gameplay compared to the original. So, as we can see by this, it's really just a way for them to cut corners, as far as I'm concerned. Which, of course, leaves us as consumers in a pretty rough spot, as far as I'm concerned, due to the fact that what they're doing is essentially giving us an incomplete pizza. They can't decide whether to give us dough and toppings without tomato sauce or cheese, or whether to give us tomato sauce and cheese without dough or toppings. Which leaves us as consumers to consume an incomplete pizza of a game, if you guys are understanding the analogy. Can we still enjoy that pizza being incomplete? Well, it's not even a pizza at this point. Can we still enjoy those toppings and that, maybe that dough and tomato sauce? Maybe, yeah, perhaps. But let's be real. I don't know about you, but I want that complete pizza. I want the pizza dough and tomato sauce and the cheese and the toppings. I don't want that incomplete pizza. Don't just give me tomato sauce and toppings. You know what I mean? I want the whole pizza pie. And as far as I'm concerned, when it comes down to the gaming industry, it appears that anything that they can do to cut corners, that's essentially what's going on right now. Because, as we can see, all we're really hearing from games nowadays, is even with trailers and releases, it's all about how the game looks. It's all about how the game, pleases the fans with the fan service characters. What about the gameplay? Where is the innovation? Where is the level design? Where's that being discussed? And frankly, it's not being discussed because that's not their priority, as most people have just for some reason decided that aesthetics are their priority. Gameplay is second, aesthetics is first. That is the reason why a game, as far as I'm concerned, like Destiny 2, in the state that it released, did so well. People said, this game looks good. They were only looking at the aesthetics, and they didn't look at the full picture, and that's why it did amazing on release, but then it really flopped after a bit of time, after they actually experienced how mediocre the gameplay was compared to the original. That is why a game like Girl with the Hat does not get as much attention as it possibly could, because it doesn't look good enough for most gamers nowadays, due to them being spoiled, for lack of better words, believing that all games somehow start with this AAA budget, big studio developers, teams working on it. So the idea that studios that are smaller are out there making games, and that they don't level up, well, not level up, add up in terms of aesthetics to them, that's enough for them not to purchase the games. The idea that that's a thing for me is just really, really quite infuriating. Which brings me to, once again, to the final thesis that I'm trying to get across in this video, is that for some reason, people don't seem to get that we can have the complete pizza. We don't just have to have aesthetics, we don't just have to have gameplay. We can get a complete pizza and enjoy the whole thing. You know, like, let's cut it out with the darn tomato sauce and toppings. Let's cut it out with the dough and the cheese, okay? Let's get the complete pizza up in here, huh? Let's get really nice aesthetics and gameplay. Not one or the other. Let's get the whole thing so that we can all enjoy it. That sounds fine to me. So, I really think we need to do that. With that being said, that's going to bring that topic to a close. I really hope that you guys enjoyed and that you got something out of that. Because frankly, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as these clickbait gaming channels are concerned, aesthetics are what matter. You know, if a game doesn't look good enough, then they will make a 30-minute video bashing it about how the graphics aren't good, you know, so screw the gameplay. If the graphics aren't good, then people just aren't into it. You know, I'm not saying that in this video that you can't, you know, like, feel like you should have, like, decent-looking graphics, but not to the point where, like, you completely get rid of the gameplay. I don't care if the game looks completely realistic. If the gameplay's bad, then you're not going to enjoy the game 9 times out of 10. So just want to let you all know that since YouTube censors content on its platform, if you want to see these videos, please do subscribe and hit that bell. That is the only way to receive videos in your feed. And with that being said, please do let me know if there's anything else that you want me to talk about for game discussion, as golly, you have no idea how long I was looking for a topic for game discussion, but now that I found it, it feels pretty good to get back to it. So please do let me know anything that you want to talk about, because as far as I'm concerned right now, the gaming industry for me is just really uninteresting at the moment, which is why videos have really slowed down in terms of game discussion. As always, rate the video what you think it deserves. Tell me what you would like to see in the future in the comments below. Feel free to check out my amino. It will be linked in the description and comments. And I will see all of you in the next video. Take care.